the different topics, leadership.
Right,
वो
right,
जो
right.
5 points है वो है, and Imagica is our this thing, and we are hitting today is our 99th session. And next week we are going live.
Hello.
In the
Hello.
physical Orchid, and requesting everyone to register.
Yes,
We have
Imagica,
Hello.
we can hear you.
Yes. So sir, it's 3, 2, 1. We are live now. Over.
Good morning, viewers. Today we are presenting LPC-99 episode. Very soon, next week, we would be with 100 episode. And in this 100 episode, we are going to talk with many people worldwide, legends of pharmaceutical industry, who are managing almost since 30, 35 years and some even 40 years. So just we will go with brief introduction of LPC. LPC, India's largest online pharma discussion platform, where just we are here for learning and sharing. We introduce many people online, and they share their experience about pharma knowledge as well as work culture and from different aspects. Today, LPC becoming larger and larger every day, every week, month by month. If we'll go weekly, we talk about leadership session, global, young leadership, academic, and women empowerment. How women are leading in pharma industry and what is their actual role. LPC journey begins with learning and sharing, as we have discussed, and it has been initiated from May month of 2020. So in next 3 months, we are going to complete 2 years with, I think almost 108 episode or 110. Here, this has been initiated with 4 people who are legends in pharma industry: Mr. Raman, Mr. Yashwant Mishra, Mr. ICS Verma, and Mr. Vinod Vaswani. At present, we have many executive members, and they are almost the best in pharma industry. From institution also, we get connected weekly wise. So each session they have different executives. Like for global, people are different. For leadership, different. From women empowerment, it's different. At present, we are reaching, we are engaging, people are subscribing. In that way, almost 20,000 Facebook users are reaching day by day. 5,000 people are very active and engaged on Facebook, where 2,000 people
Hello.
are on.
Praveen sir. Sorry.
Yes?
Sorry for interruption. But sir, can you do the slide?
Yes.
Yes. Sir, can you do the slideshow mode? Full screen mode.
It's on full screen mode. Okay, it was not on full. I'm sorry. Okay, almost 2,000 people are subscribers on YouTube. LPC mentor team has been divided in 3 different parts, and Imagica is our technical partner for live streaming. Once again, thank you viewers who are joining us, and definitely be active to ask your questions. I would like to hand over the session to Ms. Satwant, who will just introduce herself and the speakers. Thank you.
good morning, everyone. Welcome to the session of 99th episode. We are going great guns on learning and sharing platform every week. And today is the 99th episode. And next week, we are hitting 100 where we are going to have a live physical program in Hotel Orchid, and requesting everyone to do your registration at the earliest so that you can take the mileage of listening live all the legends in the pharma industry speaking. So a brief introduction about myself. I'm Satwan Kormanku. I'm in the pharma industry now for almost 33 years, having worked with Protec, a division of Cipla, Solus Renbaxy, Universal Medicare, and Zydus Cadila. And today I have my own agency by the name Vivid Management Services, and we are catering to both domestic and international markets. I also love teaching, so I am associated with the Nasimunji Institute for teaching their BPharm students, BPharm MBA students. So that's a brief about myself, and I'm associated with LPC now for the last many episodes. I'm listening and sharing the learnings that we are getting it and getting enriched day by day. So over to you, Praveen.
Thank you. Today have multiple speakers, Mr. Vishal, Mr. Manu, Mr. Saurabh. So here I'm going to introduce first about bit topic, just paradigm in pharmaceutical industry. Day by day, multiple things has been changed in last decades. How pharmaceutical industry is changing day by day in multiple ways, including sales, marketing, team management, supply chain, digitalization. So we are going to hear different things from different speaker. I would like to introduce one speaker, Mr. Manu. Mr. Manu has completed his bachelor degree from Guru Nanak Dev University. After that, he has completed certification program in management from Kozhikode from different geographical. He is offering almost 25 years of experience in pharmaceutical market in domestic as well as in international. He has initiated his career from Pfizer, and at present he is holding as a GM position with Unisource based in New Delhi. Mr. Manu has covered almost half of the world. He has worked in CIS, he has worked in African market, and hold a different position in different companies like Cadila, Pfizer, USB, and Philips in Kenya. So this session goes to Mr. Manu, who can introduce himself and bit about his topic. Thank you. Sorry, you are mute.
Very good morning, viewers. I am thankful to LPC for giving this opportunity. I have been associated with LPC from first session of international, and it is going to my third session. And I have also the opportunity to listen to different leaders of pharma industry, and which has this platform is providing us very good knowledge and also keep us connected with the latest what is happening in pharmaceutical industry. So far as myself is concerned, I have around 25-year experience in pharmaceutical industry at different levels, started as a medical representative, of course. Now moving up, taking small steps and moving up the ladder. So this is how my journey has been. It's quite enriched. I have opportunity to live in different countries during my this tenure. And I have learned a lot at a personal level as well as at professional level. And this journey is still on. And the today's topic, I will do my best for youngsters, for experts. You know, we have many experts who are listening to us. For youngsters, we'd like to give you some thought process or on paradigm shift, what is happening, how it has changed. So this will make our youngster ready for what is at present and for future as well. So thank you, Mr. Parveen.
Welcome, welcome. So, madam, this chance to you to introduce
Yes.
Mr. Vishal.
Yeah, thank you so much, Praveen. It's a pleasure and honor to introduce Mr. Vishal Chandra to the LPC 99. Welcome, Vishal. And a brief about Vishal. Vishal is currently Associate Vice President at Venus Pharma and based in Germany. And we must appreciate that Vishal has joined us at because of the time zone difference. He is connecting with us at early morning at 6:30. Thank you so much, Vishal, for taking your time and connecting with us. I'll request you to please give a brief introduction about yourself and the topic, and then we can take the things forward after that.
Good morning and guten Tag, my friends. Guten Tag is good day in German. I like to wish all my friends, colleagues, and seniors from India and international locations. This is my 25th year in the pharma industry. As most of us, we started our careers from domestic market. I started my ABC of pharma industry from Solus Ranbaxy, and have uh, worked with different companies like McLeod's, Tulip Lab, and now I'm associated with Venus Pharma based out of Germany. Uh, Through our careers, we have learned many of the skills, and it's a good platform here in LPC that we could share our learnings of last couple of years with the new generation, and share our learnings in terms of what challenges we have faced and how to overcome the challenges with our self improvement. Couple of years I was doing a short course on how to derive competitive advantage, with your set of products or services, and increase your organizational share in the market. So this course started with giving an example of dinosaurs, crocodiles, and cockroaches, and why the strongest of the species among these three became extinct. Dinosaurs were extinct, and crocodiles are considered as an extended family member of dinosaurs, but still have survived thousands of years. While the smallest of the species, these cockroaches, they have outnumbered anything on planet Earth. So in corporate world, I would understand that it is more than your muscle power. It is your ability to identify the changing situations, adapt yourself according to it, and survive the changes and outsmart your competition that helps your survival. So it was taught that it's your flexibility to change and agility to make the change helps to remain ahead of your competition. So nowadays, be it sales and marketing, field force management, accounting departments, production, uh, the basics of the business are still the same, but it is your adaptability and agility to adapt to the digital technologies in functional tasks. It will decide how are you going to survive the changing scenario. So I would love to discuss about the changing trends and the role of IT and digital technologies and how it's going to impact your survival.
Great. Thank you so much, Vishal. It will be interesting to learn more from you. And we are going live, so we will be having many questions coming from the audiences. Definitely, we will ask you. And it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Now I will introduce the another speaker. It's a pleasure to introduce Mr. Saurabh Mishra. And I think we have a very young team today with us, like Saurabh. Praveen Pandey is also very young in the industry and doing very well. So Saurabh Mishra, coming to Saurabh Mishra, he is an international business professional, and he is associated with Otsuka Pharmaceutical as an AGM international business. Over to Saurabh. Please give a brief introduction about yourself in 2 minutes and the topic you're going to cover, and then we'll go into detailed discussion afterwards.
Thank you, Satun Madam. To all the viewers of LPC, my fellow speakers and panelists, a very good morning. I'm Saurabh Mishra, and I bring along a small insignificant experience of 10 years in international business of formulations. My core expertise is in business development and sales. The areas that I have handled in my 10 years of experience is Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia, and French West Africa. I'm a pharmacy graduate with an international business MBA, and I have keen interest in geopolitics and international relations as well. Coming to today's topic, it has been already explained by Mr. Praveen that we are experiencing a paradigm shift in the pharmaceutical industry. It has been the most dynamic industry. If you see, in last 5 years, the scenario has completely changed. There are new players and new technologies, new ways of doing business. So from my experience, today, I'll be contributing to the discussion by talking about supply chain management, how supply chain has evolved in last few years, what are the changes that we are experiencing, and if we can predict some future changes as well, and how to counter them.
That's
Over
great.
to you, Satwan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for your brief introduction. And the topic that we are going to cover up is really the one which is an integral part, and it affects the performance of the companies, not only in India, but also in the international market. Thank you. I'm looking forward to learning more from you. Now, we'll start after this brief introduction of everyone. Now, I will straight away go on to our first speaker, Mr. Vishal Chandra. And today's topic is really very pertinent to the current scenario about the changes. The last 2 years, we have seen lots of changes happening in the pharmaceutical industry. In fact, our lives have been impacted to a greater extent. We are not the same as we were 2 years before the COVID-19 happened to all of us. And the life has changed, and there are the certain changes which are happening, and we have to adapt to it at the earliest, so that if we have to survive, as Vishal has given the example of dinosaur and the crocodiles and cockroaches, so whoever can adapt to the current scenario will be able to survive. So that's a very good example, Vishal, you have given. Giving a little more brief about Vishal Chandra. Vishal Chandra is currently the Associate Vice President at Venus Pharma, Germany, and he is there in the company now for almost 5 years. And he has worked earlier with Tulip Labs, Alchem, McLeod's, and he has started his career with Solus from the Dioria headquarters. And he has been a star performer. We know about it because we were associated in Solus. So he has been still rising and shining brighter and brighter. Very proud of Vishal. He is now this is his 25th year in the pharma industry, and he has actually enjoyed a very progressive career from the grassroots level, as I said. And today he is heading the division, not only in Indian market, but also he is now covering the world market. He is currently working with raw markets and gradually now into the regulated markets of Europe, which is the toughest market. So he is doing great over there. He is well versed with various languages. Of course, he has two, with German, Russian, English, Hindi, of course, is there. Punjabi to likhi nahi, Punjabi bhi aati hai. Besides progressive core, besides progressive in core areas like international business development, market access, P&L management, Vishal is also an avid learner and believes in constant upgrading his own skills and also his team members. And eclotes of Vishal's have been in a successful new market entries in the CIS, EMEA region, and achieving segment leadership for a couple of products in the geographics. That's very good under his control. And he can be, you want to know more details about him, you can go through his profiles in the LinkedIn and various other posts that he keeps posting it. Today, we intend to learn a lot about the paradigm shift that is happening in the pharma industry. It's happening world over, but we will refrain to the, we will restrict ourselves to the pharma businesses, how it is impacting. And Vishal, there's one question, like, the paradigm shift when it comes to, one question that is coming very strongly to my mind is like, things are not the same as it used to be and how we used to operate 2 years before. And today, we 2 years before also we had begun the journey of going into the digital platform, but it was not picking up the pace, how we wanted to introduce digital technology into our sales and marketing operations to that extent. But COVID made us learn many new things. So now, could you please throw a little more light? You are working in a very different market, and we are seeing the scenarios changes in India and various other markets as well. So could you please throw more light on how digital technologies have impacted the pharmaceutical business models in the last 2 years, and other than how we were operating the core sales operations of different companies. So over to you, Vishal, to give us an insight into this.
Thank you, Satwan ma'am, for such a big introduction. So my name is Vishal, and you're given a big introduction, so I feel humbled.
Vishal. So because your name is Vishal, so we have to justify that.
Thank you so much. So ma'am, I will have to start the discussion by giving few real examples of last 1 or 2 years. The latest example I would love to give is the CPHI conference and the Arab Health Conference. I was a part of the CPHI conference in Milan, Italy in November last year.
Yes, this, yeah,
And
correct.
also, I was supposed to travel to Arab Health that is held in Dubai every year in month of February or end of January. So this time in both of the conferences, there was a limited number of visitors
Yes.
and a very poor turnout in both of the conferences. So the money invested by the companies for their stall, travel, stay arrangements, the companies keep on complaining that it could not be recovered.
Yeah.
Okay, and instead, many companies they have now with played their trumpets that they were able to save their cost by conducting virtual meetings with the clients. So this is a very real example. So uh, yes, they've saved the money and improved the profitability. But during and post COVID era, the teams are missing face-to-face meeting and those relationship building exercises. But now their own companies are putting pressure to remain virtual in an effort to save the cost and increase the profitability. So this is one impact of uh, digitalization that we are forced to be virtual many times because it helps to save your airfare indirectly. And
Yes.
the meetings happen within 5 minutes, and you have to travel for entire day to have that 30-minute meeting. So this is one example. This is how digital is impacting our day-to-day work. Second example I would like to give of GMP certifications and
Hmm.
auditing, which are a compulsory part of pharmaceutical world. So GMP certifications and auditing of the manufacturing units was disturbed during the first wave and
Hmm.
the lockdown periods. Therefore, extensions were being given by the authorities for 1 year period. But during the same time, I have experienced this thing happening in Europe that many authorities have been asking compulsory compliances from companies and not letting them to make excuses of travel restrictions, and instead we've been asked to do compulsory desktop audits and virtual audits of our vendors or to
Mhm.
face penalties for non-compliance. So, above has exposed many companies in terms of lack of readiness for virtual audits and desktop audits. The authorities are expecting high quality videos and photographs and want to see live action, from their
Mhm.
remote locations. But the companies do not want to share their electronic records, not because they don't want to share, but the question is they are afraid and of the threat of the data leak and the critical operations being maintained over cloud servers. So you're not sure where this data will go then after you have shared. So, and it is just not the light camera action thing in the production testing and packaging lines. Many companies simply cannot give Wi-Fi access in these critical locations in their production units. So this is
Very
a
true.
big risk. And third example I will have to give, there is a sudden increase in the number of vendors selling different digital services, and the companies are not able to decide where to focus and where to put their finances. Every second day you are getting an email of some digital service, and one provider will ask you to offer digital analysis of your clinical and laboratory data. There are companies offering CRM systems. There are companies offering better connectivity through Zoom and other channels, virtual meeting systems. And there are vendors who are offering online tracking of your shipments.
True.
So the companies are not able to decide, and every software is costing thousands and lakhs of rupees in terms of investment. So the managements are facing difficulty, sudden increase in everything going digital and not very sure which side to go. So if they allocate funds, they also require trained workforce for its implementation. These fields are relatively new, and you need experience at your senior management level also, your middle management level, who will handle all this thing when I as a senior person am not aware how to work on these new softwares, how would I leave my team to work
Hmm.
on this? So, and moreover, trust of handling confidential data to the newcomer in your team. This is also a major factor. So, I've given three examples how digital technologies are impacting our day-to-day operations, and one has to adapt.
Very true. What you're saying is very right, because even if you look at, as you said, more senior the people, they are not as tech savvy as the youngsters today are. And most of the information is very, very confidential, which they would not like to leak it, or you don't want to share it on a digital platform. So one-on-one basis, they are more comfortable in sharing the information, not on this basis. So I do appreciate what you are saying. We are passing through a transient phase of getting more and more tech savvy, learning new technology. So that means we are talking about is upgrading our skills on the digital platform. Like if we are more able to handle the digital thing and acquire, which is the secure form of digital connections with our clients and the authorities wherever we need to, so that our data can also be secure. So that means there is more and more learning that is there for all of us to go through and upgrade ourselves. That's interesting. Very nice. It's very challenging part, but I think we will all, if for survival, we'll be needing to get acquainted to all these things. Right. Very nice. And Praveen, over to Praveen. You said you had something to ask.
Yes, yes. Actually, some questions started coming because it's
Yes.
open talk. So, Mr. Kumal from BD department of some company, he is willing to know what difference is seen with level of digital preparedness of pharmaceutical companies in different geographical countries. So, we would like to know from Mr. Vishal on this.
Good question. I would love to answer that. The Western world is leading the digital revolution. While the implementation and the innovation is managed by the European software companies, but their software development teams and site engineering teams and backend operations are mostly run by the Asians, primarily by the Indian companies. So
Okay.
their European show, American show is being run by the Indians at backend. But on, for example, SAP, this ERP services, the Salesforce, this and the different CRM software service providers, Tableau and Power BI, that is helpful for data analysis. So these big software services providers, the backend is being managed by the Indians. But on the contrary, within India, other than the top few MNCs, other companies, tier B companies, are restricted to use only the basic of these modern equipments, especially in the pharma industry. So I could see that the office and the field working teams only have a superficial knowledge of the functional tasks of these new tools, and frequently get stuck, which actually delays the productivity. The companies have invested millions, in order to get acquainted to the current trend, but the people and the office team are not trained adequately, and instead of increasing the productivity, it is leading to frustration during this transition stage.
Hmm.
So, and it's been found that very fantastic softwares, but their functionality and utility is just 15 to 20% of which they promised. So lots of things are needed in terms of training. It's not just investment. It's more that how you train your 500 office and field stuff. That is equally important. So this transition stage is currently Europeans are more dynamic, I would say. They are more prepared, but other countries are catching up, and it will take time.
But I
Thank
think
you.
over here, yeah, thanks, Praveen. Thanks, Vishal, for the answer. But I think then one question that is coming to my mind is, are companies actually investing? I think the need of the hour is the pharma companies to train their people to be to remain upbeat to the current scenario, the changing scenario. I hope the companies are investing their time and money in upgrading their people to stay abreast to the current scenario that's happening. So that I think it depends upon the company's policies and how, because acquiring the new talent, the new people, then what happens to the experience of the older people who have been there in the organization. So those are quite a big challenges, I believe, in front of every pharma company and the employees as well. Um, I think that we will all learn as the time passes. Um, Vishal, Manish is asking a question. He's asking like, what changes in organization structure of pharmaceutical companies are required in order to meet the changing scenario?
Okay. To Manisha's question, my first answer would be that it is a part of change management concept. When complexities happen, for example, like digital thing coming, and being forced in last 1 or 2 years, all of a sudden. So the business leaders and the senior management themselves need to be a part of the transition and lead from
Yeah,
front.
correct,
Only doing
correct,
the
correct.
investment sometimes is not enough. And they also need to understand the process flow and the complexities of the implementation, is equally important for the company. So as a business head, sometimes we just see the dashboard, to make the decisions because the data is presented to us, but we have to understand the back end part of it. This data is presented to the poor person in the back end in form of Excel sheet. He's compiling the data, gathering more information from the sales teams, maybe from the CRM department, from the production and supply chain. Then the poor person integrates everything. So even one link is missing, the dashboard is incomplete. So and then yes, because we have a dashboard to be presented, we have recruited one data analyst. But how can immense data from 10 different departments, the poor data analyst, they end up getting frustrated, and due to delay in compilation, from other departments, and overall delays happen. So, there is uh, pressure of service, to meet the deadlines. And because of this pressure, all the teams are being shouted by the management people, all the delays in presenting their submissions. But the fact is this, I believe that proper coordination and proper training is required at all the departments to solve this issue. Second point, I would like to say that due to pressure of service providers, every new software tool looks fantastic and useful. And sometimes the companies take a good decision to implement everything. So while one tool is still under process and half implemented, the teams are being stressed to get integrated with something new again. So the first thing is not implemented, people are not trained, and within 2 or 3 months something new is also coming, digital, and the people are being asked to implement that also. So half cooked first thing, and the new thing is already under pressure. So I would say that digital overload is seen in the
Hmm.
functional teams, and transition period has to be dealt with careful planning so that this thing does not happen. One thing I would highlight, the financial part and the budget part. Because of digital thing, the marketing trends are changing. Uh, you know, uh, so allocation of the budgets towards the digital integration has to increase, with a clear understanding that the results of such investment will be visible only after 1 or 2 years. And if we put pressure on the teams, after making investment and asking them for overnight increase in the productivity, this is not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
You invest millions, and where it's not a sales activity that you do a promo campaign and see some results. But digital implementation is not that you software, you have spent millions and from tomorrow you will see something drastic positive. No, it will take maybe 1 or 2 years to see the real results. Uh, Third point I would love to highlight, uh, and this is the most important thing, I'm repeating it. If you invest even millions in a software purchase, but do not invest in the training and updating the skills of your team, then
Absolutely.
the company will end up in a digital fatigue, I will say. Okay, so digital training of the teams in the office, in the field working, have to be done regularly, else the intended results will never come. So the companies need to have more members in their IT support teams as the usage is drastically increasing. Okay, so I would say that the management needs to understand that earlier we had IT support teams, 2 or 3 people in IT department. So if the infrastructure is same, just 2 or 3 people, then it is not going to support it anymore. You know, that sometimes I would say there is an urgency to give some reports, and we have the network support managers helping us. How can a poor network support engineer help us with a Tableau dashboard? There are yes, the field is IT, but the network engineer is not trained with data analytics skills. So we need to have more people in the team, and there is also a need to diversify the team and then allocate new members adequately trained to help in the financial department, production team, supply chain, independently. So because even data analysis is not just presenting a set of figures. Data analysis and digital things is now a separate, I would say, capability to enhance your supply chain. Similarly, it is going to help in accounts. But if there is one person allocated to do all the thing, then it is simply impossible. So careful planning in right allocation and diversifying the IT teams is the need of the hour, in my opinion. And on top of it, even if you have the diversification done, how do you train your people? Do we have the right number of training managers who are themselves experienced? When you appoint a training manager, you expect him to have a 10 years experience. But the poor training manager, how will he get a 10-year experience when the technology is
Yes.
2 years old? So do you have the right training managers with their own set of experience? you know Office training is still relatively easier as compared to helping the poor field people. So imagine some technical snack happens in the laptop or tablet of your field person. So if you don't have a state wise IT support team, how would you help a poor field worker? So this thing has to be thought. Okay, so and maybe if a company is not able to hire recruit these training managers, then this thing has to be outsourced. By finding adequate partners and service providers. And lastly, I would love to highlight a very small thing. Yes, digital changes have happened, but has our hardware upgradation happened? I still see companies working with a Windows 97
Yes.
uh, PC, or Windows XP. So how would a Windows XP be compatible with a new software after 20 years? So simply, many companies I could see, they are struggling with this thing. Not only the software part, but the hardware infrastructure is so old. So these are the things that have to be a part of the organization structure and the changes as per the current norms. Thank you.
I think, Vishal, what you have highlighted and the end part, what you have said, the hardware and the software has to match up with this thing. So I think the intuition and that this part is getting connected. Vivek Chandra was asking the same similar question. He is saying that what is the relevance of common sense in the era of digitalization? So I think this requires lots of debate, like, more discussion. If you can just give a little brief about it, and so that after the other speakers we are done with it, so we can take up more
No, I would
questions.
like to answer Vivek. To the audience, I would say Vivek is my brother. It's
Yes, he is
basically
his
that.
brother, younger brother, and doing very well in the international market. So both the brothers are the gem of the pharma industry, and we are really proud of both of
So
them.
I would like to answer Vivek that yes, common sense is always required, but now gradually artificial intelligence is also gaining. So we have to go hand
Yes,
in hand. So only
yeah.
using common sense without digitalization of your common sense is going to be difficult 10 years down the line.
But don't you think you having AI, artificial intelligence coming into it? Normally, we have seen when we use the same in the GPS while driving, and we put it up on the Google Map, and then we really switch off our common sense and we keep just following blindly wherever the map is taking us.
Absolutely true. So yes, digital things are very much addictive, and because
Yeah,
most of the softwares are intended to make our life easy.
easier.
So as humans, we start following the easy things, and then slowly get addicted to it. So this is a part that we have to adapt.
Correct. But coming back to the challenges that the digitalization, what we are facing in the pharma industry, what you have pointed out, the few facts are so pertinent is about digital upgradation, digital training to our people, matching up of the digital hardware and the software that needs to be done at every area of the operation, and be aware of the digital overload, as you said, like, we have been seeing this in the mobiles, like, one app you have taken new mobile and there's a new version that has come up. It always happened with me. The moment I bought a new laptop and I felt I have taken the latest upgraded laptop, the moment I buy it, after 2 days only, I get a news, oh, this is an outdated one, what I have taken. There's a new one which has come up. So that is like, remaining abreast with the digital pace what is there. We need to upgrade ourselves, and not just in buying but also in learning how to operate it, and also be aware of the digital fatigue, like one app and the another new system that comes in, how to keep a pace and take the things forward. Thank you so much, Vishal. We will come back to you a little later, like, once we are through with our other speakers also, and then we'll throw the forum open for more questions. There are a few more questions which are there. We'll ask a little later. Over to Praveen for our next
Yeah,
speaker.
thank you. Actually, we are getting questions. We are getting questions on different types. Some people willing to know, but that question would be asked later to Mr. Vishal only. Just I am letting you know
Yeah.
before so that you can prepare your answer. The question comes from a person who is with a startup, and he is willing to know that post COVID, it may after 2 years, 3 years, digitalization as well as physically will be equal, or people will be on normal routine. So this question is for you, and answer would be later. We would like to hear a few things from Mr. Manu, and on different things like emerging market, raw market, how marketing things has been changed, what is challenges in sales. So Mr. Manu, it's up to you from here.
Very good morning, viewers and my fellow colleagues. Now, the today's topic is paradigm shift. Mr. Vishal has already put a light how the things are changing in last 2 or 3 decades. Everything used to be a manual, handwritten reports, etc. And most of the things are on either in registers back in factories, etc. Now, most of the things have moved into computers. Now we are into next stage where we will be using Internet of Things or AI or blockchains in a different aspect of pharmaceutical industry. When we talk about a pharmaceutical industry, primarily is we only talk about sales and marketing. It is beyond that. To reach to the level of sales and marketing, Mr. Vishal has already put a light in the back, how the factories, plants, manufacturing, etc., the digital approvals are being required nowadays, etc. So last 4-5 years, I will say the changes has happened at much faster pace than we had ever thought of. Now, this paradigm shift primarily is happening for two reasons. One, it is a need of the hour. The second is disruptions. Which kind of disruption? The COVID is a disruption. When COVID happened, we people were not ready. What is going to happen? The lockdown happened. Pharmaceutical industry traditionally has been one-to-one, on a promotion. As per the rules and regulations of the countries, pharmaceutical products cannot be promoted on a mass media or even general media. So this industry has been the one which has been working very strongly on CRM. That is customer relation management, basically going and promoting the products to visual aids and to other scientific information, etc., which we used to share primarily in one-to-one calls or sometime maybe some meetings, etc., used to organize. And I think my colleague, Mr. Vishal and Mr. Satwant will agree that earlier it used to be very difficult when Reliance has started this cafe. Companies started at that time some online meetings, So doctor used to, just get blocked that some doctor is going to speak from America. They used to have some kind of apprehension. Now, if I will talk about paradigm shift, the first thing which is happening to us is acceptance of digitalization in our sales and marketing as well in pharma industry. Had the COVID not happened, these things could have taken another 4, 5, 6 years to come up. So this has come bitterly. Yes, it is posing both challenges for the organization, challenges for the users, and even challenges for the patients. There are still many regulations across globe where pharma industry cannot connect directly with the patients because of the regulations, because of the medicines, whatever we say. And still, these things we expect to sort out with a due course of time. Now, if I talk about start with the marketing aspect of pharmaceutical industry, earlier I told that most things are happening one-to-one call, promoting the products. Now, off lately, during last few years, company moved to tabs or maybe other presentation modes have changed to digitalization. And now our customers, that is doctors or maybe pharmacists, now they are open for meetings, which are online live meetings are happening. Many conferences nowadays are happening live. Even if you see European Society of Cardiology or the other big associations, they're living, you can attend it from their home as well. That facility had been available last year. So this has saved a time of the people. And secondly, they have a choice what they want to attend sitting at their same place. So this paradigm shift is there, and I think it is going to get stronger with the coming time period. So this is in marketing. And secondly, in sales, if we say earlier, now online pharmacies have opened up significantly across globe. And instead of going out, people are preferred to buy, medicine sitting at home. Yes, still there are challenges. OTC definitely you can buy. For prescription medicine, either you have to upload your prescriptions or they have find a way, they have their own doctors, etc. So with the going forward, it is becoming challenge, kind of setup which is going to come up for smaller pharmacies. It will take a time to evolve and it will take a time. Everybody has to adjust themselves to this change, which is coming up very fast. Because with the mobile in the hand across globe, things are very much accessible. You are sitting at some place. You need not to plan to go any place. You only need to plan when I can receive my parcel back at home, right? Your prescription is on your mobile. So you upload the photograph, you place the orders, the things are moving. So the coming time is the servicing time, how fast you can connect with your patients or with your client and how fast you can serve them. That is the time forward. The gone are the days if somebody has asked us something and we will take 1 day or 2 days, we'll check up. Nowadays, everybody expects everything very fast. So first and foremost thing for everyone is to, make yourself more agile, wherein we can absorb more things and can assimilate as per the need and set up our priority. Now with digitalization and with the invent of AI, I will say in pharmaceutical industry, many things will change in a due course of time. In terms of promotion and from doctor to patient as well is going to change with the time. Earlier, there never used to be any consultations online. Telemedicine is available in the country from last 2 decades or so, but it has never been evolved. Now, telemedicine is also something which is evolving very fast. The doctor sitting in America assisting a doctor in India or elsewhere in the world for certain patients or certain kind of things, or even if you see, as Mr. Vishal said, training is very important. Earlier, when the training used to happen, company used to, think about logistic. Now gone are the days. So experts are sitting at some other place. People are connected throughout the continents and the things are being done. The point is moving forward, either it is sales or it is a marketing, the success will depend upon how agile you are in communicating and passing your message to your end customer, how agile you are for these changes which are coming up very fast. AI, so far as in marketing and sales, have not entered. It is still at a back door. Internet of Things have not entered so much as we were expecting. Still, why we are at level 1 in terms of digitalization, marketing and sales. As we will progress, more and more things are going to move towards that direction, and we need to keep ourselves updated, not in terms of technology, but also in terms of response rate. When I talk about a response rate, it is a human intervention. It is not a digital intervention. So everybody has to evolve themselves. So human intervention will always be there, irrespective of digitalization level. Because if you are responsible to answer to 100 people, it is you who is going to decide which is my priority. Software can tell you, okay, out of 100, these 20 need to be talent priority, these 5 are top priority. But ultimately, which is out of these 5 is my priority. So you need to be more agile. You need to understand the things. And one thing very important and critical for your aspect or maybe for young generation is, so much of data create paralysis also. You need to understand what is relevant for you. And what is relevant for you, here comes the experience. There was one question, we were discussing, how relevant will be the people with the more experience and the young people. With the experience, I feel you learn the decision making because you pass through different situations throughout your life, through different, professional situation you pass, and those past experience help you to take a better decision. So ultimately, we must understand one simple thing. Paradigm shift is going to happen in terms of digital technology, but we need to be also take a pace with that. Gone are the days we can say, okay, sir, I am there, I am attending, because your office is in your hand, that is your mobile. Your client has access to more information than you. This is a challenge which pharmaceutical industry need to going to face, is how well they are going to train their field force to utilize the data available with them. Say, for example, we promote one pharmaceutical product. In India, it is, we have branded generics, or even in abroad, there are raw markets. There are 2 categories. One is branded and other is branded generics. In branded generics, we have different kind of competition. How you are going to stay ahead with your client? You can have a better presentation on your compared to competitor on your tab. You may have a better content, but interaction and how you are going to present, how you are going to serve your client is a key, which I say is a human intervention again is required. You can equip the people with the best tools available, but how to use them is very important. So moving forward, I will just sum up with 2-3 things. Then for marketing, sales, we need to equip ourselves equally well. Besides learning the skills, we need to be more efficient while promoting our products. I am talking about sales perspective. We need to be more agile in terms of preparing our marketing strategies. We need to be more agile in terms of getting the response. Now the good thing is, you launch something, you take a feedback, you can take the decision, and decision implementation is very, very fast. Because earlier we used to print visual aids, new communication used to come and go. Now only you have to prepare some digital things, train the people, and then implementation can be started very fast. So to connect with the market, to get the information back from the market, here it is a human intervention. You can get all the market data from all the companies, How to use it again is a human intervention.
Correct.
So ultimately, we should be very happy that now we have more tools available to be more successful. And these tools are not only creating competitions amongst us, it is also increasing the market size, which is a very good thing. Earlier, the information was, say, for example, some drug is there. Information was going from 10 companies to 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 doctors for particular disease indication. So those doctors were using. Now the same information is available on day 1, day 2, day 3 to 100 and 1,000 of doctors. So a market of molecules is also increasing. So if we talk about a paradigm shift, I will just conclude with one simple line. We need to be agile, number one. We need to keep ourselves updated. And we should not look forward for, cook food or fast food. We should try to start learning things at our own end as well. If you really want to be sustainable, irrespective of your experience, irrespective of your age, you need to be trained yourself. Self-training is going to be the motto of the time, because company or any relevant people can train you for some time. And how you are going to master is individual. You can get a training from everywhere. Nowadays, I think this is an era which is the most lucky era, where we have all the education available online. We have everything, good institute or maybe good trainings available online. Either it is a paid or a free, or so much content is available. Not only across, best of trainers, you can listen to the content, you can motivate yourself. Now I will say this is the time of, self motivation. This is the time of self training. This is the time of self improvement. This is the time how you are yourself as individual are going to keep yourself abreast compared to your competitors. So your success is not digitalization. Your success is you. So this I will say.
Great.
So yeah, thanks. This is what I like to say.
Great. It's very, it was looking like we are talking something realistic, because now we are in mode of virtual, but this is the fact which we have to accept. And sir, one question came in my mind with your experience, because mostly you had covered in this area. In this scenario, in this present situation, is still it's correct to say that emerging market is a semi-regulated market?
Mr. Paveen, if we talk about international pharmaceutical business, all the companies in India, they use two terms: regulated. Regulated, we can very simply understand it is a Europe, it is America, it is Australia. Okay, when I say America, it means North America, including Canada as well. When I say Australia, New Zealand included in that. Okay, and the rest of the world was Southeast Asia, C, then was Africa. Okay. Now, in last 10 years, if we talk about a paradigm shift, there was a time when people used to go with a few documents and used to get the registration done in many countries. Now gone are the days. Now most of the rest of world markets are as regulated as your benchmark markets. You can say either Europe or, or US. Now, second, one thing we more need to understand is that as digitalization is evolving, these regulatory authority of different countries have also gone online. Now, in many countries, rather I will say most of the countries, regulatory person sitting in India can upload their dossier or document from India.
Yes.
Okay, they get the queries directly. They need to respond to that. Mr. Vishal has already highlighted that regulatory agencies who are giving plant approvals, they are now insisting on live videos. After doing desktop approval, they ask a question, they ask for a live videos, they ask for, live interviews with the regulatory authorities of the company so that they can get the clarification instead of having a paper pen or exchange of mails. So time has changed. So again, what I have told, with the time, even in a regulatory, the response rate has to match up. Because the person sitting across in any regulatory authority body is also evaluating your documents. And they also expect the responses to become fast. And responses come fast only if you yourself prepared well in line with those countries' regulation. So the point is nowadays the documentation of getting product registered is equivalent in most of the countries, barring some 5 or 10% differences are there. Most of the countries now you can say are regulated. And now I will just like to add into regulatory, the next step which is now coming up is like unions, economic unions. We can say the first thing which was started in the world was European Free Trade Association, which was in 1970,
Yes.
and they have formed out at that time Pharmaceutical Inspection Convention. Today we know it as a PICS. This was formed in 1970 by 10 countries, right? So European Union have a common certification for plant approvals. One, we say plant approval means any manufacturing facility which want to have their credential verified. So these are different regulatory authorities available in the world. Like US FDA is very well known to us because India is having the maximum number of US FDA approved plant in the world outside, of course. And then we have European Union, which we call it EU certification. We have TGS study and henceforth and so. Now, if we see of lately, even in Africa, the countries are getting together. They are forming a union. Earlier, these unions are primarily for economic activities, free trade of different things among their borders, etc. But now these unions I will call is a block. Now these blocks have started impacting a pharmaceutical industry as well. And these blocks, maybe it's a EU or it's maybe, this your SDEC, which is a South African Development Community. They are formulating common guidelines. So it is a paradigm shift change which is happening in regulatory as well. And if you look into very recently, Russia has formed with 5 countries, Euro-Asian Economic Union. So they are also going for their common certifications. You can adopt either for a registration to 5 countries, or you can take a single country, but they are evolving a common GMP, that is good manufacturing practices certificates. So this paradigm shift is happening and it is going to get consolidated with the due course of time. And if you look into PICS now, PICS is has around 50 countries now as a part of it. So 50 country regulatory bodies, they work in line with the PICS, so that there is a common approval method. So if you're a PICS, you can, in Southeast Asian countries, if you work, so PICS has a lot of value. All right. So this in regulatory, if we can say, it's not only from documentation point of view, it is also from plant inspection point of view. Things have evolved very fast in last 2-3 years. And desktop approval and online approval are the things which are presently being practiced. And we hope this is going to be more stringent in times to come. Thank you, Mr. Parveen.
Thank you. Satwan Madam, any question you are going to pick?
I would like to ask one question, which, while I know listening to him, I was at the back of my mind, it was going through. Like so many challenges are happening, the things are moving at a faster pace than what we can catch up with. And as an, even Vishal and Manu has also highlighted about agility, learning, and upgrading ourselves, not only by the company, but also by us. Like, the people who are working in the organization need to upgrade themselves and keep pace with the digital changes, digitalization or the changing scenario across the world post-COVID. It has also thrown out lots of points, like, whatever we were doing, there are limitations to it. Okay, so today that is coming as a limitation. So can you please highlight a little more about what this COVID has taught us? Like, what we were doing is having certain limitations today in both the conventional way we were going with the sales and the marketing methods.
So thank you, ma'am. This question, I think, is a very depth question. If apparently it's a very simple,
yes.
but this question has a lot of insights. We all know that COVID has acted as a disruption to our personal life as well as professional life. I was interacting with one of the CEO of one of the company when this COVID happened last year in Feb. And he told me, Mr. Manu, what I have learned is I am connecting to all the 7,000 employees of my company, day in, day out, which could not have been practically possible for me to meet and connect with so many people in such a short span of time. So if I will say outcome of this is the people are better and more connected because of this. Once our connections are better, the responsibility, accountability also increases. When I say responsibility, accountability, I'm talking both from professional and personal end, because then you know the problem very fast and you need to be very responsible to sort out that problem professionally. Secondly, COVID has taught us one very big thing: life doesn't stops. Earlier, we were thinking that only way to promote a pharmaceutical product to medical profession is one-to-one calls, which still stands true, because any doctor will come online or will meet you after your persuasion only. But definitely the other mode of persuasion, like doctors who are not used to attend WhatsApp or maybe calls to that extent, as now they are been attending. Okay, so that changes are happening. And second, the most important change, which I say in pharmaceutical industry is happening is, the people are now more receptive to kind of online programs, etc. Yes, access of everything again is not a good. So many companies are doing same activity, same kind of things. Again, what I've told earlier is that we need to differentiate ourselves in this crowd, because if the facility is with you, it is with everyone.
Yes.
And at the end, who is going to, why I say we need to be more smarter as the technology is, because ultimately, if we are in sales and marketing function, if I have 10 clients, 20 companies approaching those 10 clients, it is your response rate, it is your sincerity, it is your connect, which is still going to make and impact a difference. Basic, though mode are going to get a different, which is for sure. Earlier, we used to have 100% one-to-one contact. Now we have 50%, certain doctors are meeting, certain were not meeting at all. And we were managing either, sending them message or leaving something at their place, whatever it is. But moving forward, again, one thing I will say in pharma industry is going to remain same. Medical rep role has evolved more, I will say. Managers' roles have evolved more, but you have to be stay connected with your client. That is a crux. You have a different modes, but physical mode or how differently you can connect is going to determine your success in this field. Because everybody has access nowadays. When we were in a Pfizer, I think we were the first company to introduce online reporting. I'll just give one small example. Nowadays, every company is having this online reporting, right? So things are available to each and everyone. Gone are the days in terms of facilities that, what is available in West in India will come after 5 years, 10 years. Now it is a matter of days or hours or maybe month max. Now, again, everything is available to everyone across the globe. It is easily accessible. We have more number of vendors providing different kind of interesting services. Now it is again is a human intervention. I will say again your experience and your role, which will determine, what is fit suits best to me. So this human intervention again comes with your experience, again comes with your involvement in your job, So the more you are involved in the things, so this digitalization is going to help you. So involvement is very important now. It has, I think, even sitting at home, it has increased considerably, I think. Rather earlier you were physically going, you are meeting and your mind was off. That I have done met him. But now with this digital era, you have to be, very alert that which are the doctors I can touch physically or meet them physically, and which are the doctors who are not meeting, and how I'm going to go to them or approach them with my products. So this is there. So I think I have answered this question to much extent.
Yes, I think there are lots of challenges that are there, like, connecting with the doctor. Marketing and sales has always been challenging because of the various needs of the hour of the customer and your preparedness from the company side. So I think that's going to get evolved and meet the challenges as one can face it. So everybody tries their best, no doubt onto that. But sure, these are quite a challenging time for all of us. Yeah, over to you, Praveen.
Yes, one gentleman is willing to know what is your recommendation for, young pharma budding professionals?
I say this is a very interesting field, sales and marketing in pharmaceutical. I think most of us has started as a medical representative, which is a start job. And we have moved up the ladder. Mr. Vishal is AVP, I'm GM, Madam is there who has played a different role in different companies. And Mr. Saurabh has also moved up the ladder. So in pharmaceutical industry, it is a quite interesting field, though I think socially people don't look upon it as a prospective career, etc. Career is there in this pharmaceutical field, but only thing my suggestion is whatever you do it from your heart. Try to learn it, because in this is the only field job where you don't have a attendance to give to anyone. Almost 25 days you are working alone in the field. 80% of the time medical representative is alone. How you can make yourself more disciplined will determine your success in long term. So this field is how much you can read yourself, how well you can communicate with your colleagues, with your clients, with your customers, with your partners. So communication is the one thing which everybody needs to work upon. When I say communication, it is not mean a fluent English or a Hindi. It means the content which you are going to deliver to your client. So you need to work wherever, if somebody is already in a pharmaceutical field, he or she should work upon whatever the products they are promoting. Don't look at your own products, look at your competition as well. Everything your companies cannot tell you and teach you. So you need to see who is my competition, how I can counter that competition. Don't in pharmaceutical industry, if somebody has to grow, he should not look towards his boss. He should only look towards his boss for a guidance. Rest, he should evolve and go with a question to his boss. The time has now changed. Many a times now we have a facility, many answers you can get it online, get it verified from your company doctors. Give the right accurate information and involve yourself in your work. I think this is the best way out to be a successful in any field for that so matter. But pharmaceutical field itself is quite interesting, quite challenging, which give you a lot of learnings, which give you opportunity to move across country or maybe a different geography, which give you an opportunity to learn so many things, which I think many fields misses. These things are not there in other fields. So this is what I would like to say, the youngsters who are listening this field, you're in the right field, your success is in your own hand. So thank you, Mr. Parveen.
Thank you so much for this pleasant guidance. And now we would like to understand the fragile things, which is really, it was very difficult time to manage. That is comes about supply chain management. Many company has faced challenge. Still, many companies, I won't say the country name, but many companies are facing challenge to send goods to Africa at one place. Sometimes they are not getting containers. Sometimes, in spite of getting it's delayed, the LC challenges, many things we have faced. So we would like to know some things about supply chain management from Mr. Saurabh, please.
Thank you, Praveenji. It was really insight to hear Mr. Vishal and Mr. Mahindra. Their experience was reflecting in their discussion today. As far as supply chain is concerned, Praveenji, a general perception that we have in our minds is that COVID has brought these changes. But if you really talk to the industry experts and you refer to the reports from various consultants, you'll see that the industry has been advocating these changes since last 5-6 years. COVID has just exposed these vulnerabilities to us, that our conventional ways of doing business have some limitations and we need to change. For example, if we see in current times, there has been a great difficulty in the predictability of the demand. The demand has been a virtual demand, and it has been considered as real. During COVID times, you have seen there was a lot of panic buying. Various tender authorities have called for tenders, and eventually they were not awarded. And in fact, in some cases they were awarded, but the supply schedule was changed. What we see that demand which is small because of tendency of keeping buffers and anticipation of higher usage in future, we have seen hyperestimation of demands. So if suppose there's a requirement of 10 units of drugs, every hospital would like to store at least 20. And this eventually has resulted in hyperestimation of demands at the supplier end, and which we in industry we call as a whip tail effect. The actual demand is quite less than what is actually appears on the purchase orders. So that has resulted in a lot of inventory stuck up. The inventory has stuck up at the suppliers end. The inventory has been lying in the hospitals, and the liquidation has not been what we are expecting, what we have expected. That's the first thing. In addition to this, what you have just mentioned, logistics and freight has been a big challenge for pharma industry right now. Sea freight was considered as the cheapest mode of transportation if we compare it to the road transport or rail transport or the air transport. Sea freight was like easy. It didn't add it to the cost much. But in last few years, we have seen the sea freight has gone up by 100%, 200%, 300%, 400%, in some cases 500%. I am also experiencing in my field that sometimes the cost of good is lower than the freight. So this has disrupted the supply chain drastically. The freight has increased because of the freight increased by the shipping lines as well as the availability of containers. So sometimes you match the lead time of production, but the lead time of supply is still questionable. The freight has also impacted the cost of raw material as well. The input cost has increased. We are not sure at what cost we are going to receive our next API or excipient. And even if we get some assurance, we are not sure about the lead times. So this has been a great challenge which industry is facing right now. And this shift in doing business has kept all of us on toes. The third thing that I would like to highlight is the integration. Just like Manuji has mentioned that in terms of regulatory affairs, there's an integration of various blocks. They mutually recognize each other. Similar is the integration in the supply chain. Earlier, our traditional models was like one distributor, one country. Now, going to integration part, we see a single partner doing distribution in the entire region, more than 10, 15 countries. If we take the example of Southeast Asia, we see companies like DKSH and Zulik. They are entirely focusing on the distribution part. They are not taking care of your marketing. They're not taking care of your sales part. They only specialize in distribution. So, and that too in more than one country. So if we approach them for doing business in only one country, that's not going to happen. They purchase as a bulk and they distribute as a bulk. So region integration and specialization has changed the way we are doing business. We have been doing business in the last 4 or 5 years. Apart from that, we have seen during the COVID times, a lot of governments were very financially stretched when it comes to healthcare financing. Healthcare insurance agencies were also very worried about the cost of rising healthcare. But during COVID times, we realized that yes, our most of the sourcing is very localized. It has been only few players who have been supplying APIs. It have been very few players who are supplying the finished formulations. And the need of localization and local production has arisen. A lot of governments have come up with a lot of incentive schemes where they focus on self-reliance, local production. Even the vertical integration is being like advocated during COVID times. We have seen in India that we are very good in like finished formulation production, but we realized during the COVID times that yes, we have challenges when it comes to API supplies. I was in Vietnam when the COVID started in February 2020. China was the only player in the market who used to supply PPE kits and masks. And Vietnam emerged as a second supplier. So a lot of inquiries Vietnam received, and there was no cost constraint. And people were ready to pay advances. Vietnam enjoyed this situation of supplying masks for like 2-3 months, and eventually everything stopped because the raw material for making masks was coming from China. So even if you are expert in a part of supply chain, if you're not vertically integrated, a lot of things are unpredictable. So these are some of the changes that we have experienced. They were theoretically predicted, but COVID, as I said, it has just exposed our vulnerabilities.
That's great, Saurabh. No doubt the answer that you have given comes from the experience that you are having in the pharma industry. For the benefit of the audience, Saurabh is an international business professional, and he comes along with an experience of over 10 years in the business development, in the sales in the Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia, and French West Africa. And he is currently working as an AGM in the international business with the Japanese MNC Otsuka Pharmaceutical. He has very nicely explained the challenges that are being faced by the pharma industry today as our major supply chain challenges, what he has just explained. So can you throw a little more points onto this about the major challenges which are there in the supply chain in the pharma industry? Because you spoke about the overall view about the COVID time, what has happened. So in today's scenario, if we have to look at the, how supply chain is still getting affected by the COVID era.
That's a very wide topic to attend, actually, madam. I would say that COVID has apart from the human losses and human suffering that COVID has given, it has been a good teacher to us. We have seen during last few years that how supply chain, the challenges were exposed, but we have improved a lot on them. The first of the thing that we see that a lot of information sharing has been done. In traditional sense, development of a vaccine or antibiotic is a 2-decade program. But we have seen that how various research institutes have come together in sharing information. Various production sites have come forward in taking the risk of advanced production. And that we have seen that in just 6 months, we came up with a vaccine. In just 2 years of a pandemic, we have more than 5 approved vaccines. So that is something that we have overcome altogether. Just like I mentioned, that logistics has been a difficult aspect of doing business, especially pharma business. For example, the cost has increased. So if you have won a tender, let's say in 2020, which you have to supply in 2021, because of the increased face cost, the business is at loss. So it is not even charity business, it's a loss business if you're supplying to a tender at a supply price that you have quoted in 2020. So that has been a change. And we as manufacturers are pursuing with these procurement agencies to either share the cost or allow us to revise the prices, and which has been very difficult because the economic situation in most of the countries is still challenging. So no one wants to increase the healthcare cost. Even for the private players who are importing the goods, their cost of importation has increased. The cost of finance in terms of LCs have been increased. So there are price ceilings in some of the market. Maximum retail price is already decided by the governments. Now, when you have increased cost of importation, there are no profit left to market the products when you have a price ceiling. So that's another bigger challenge. And I hope like professionals like Mr. Manu would be having a tough time in asking the sales team to achieve the targets with the increased cost of importation upwards. Apart from that, the challenges that we have seen recently, there are geopolitical changes. There are armed conflicts. We are seeing economies getting shattered. And that is something which has started to affect. We actually have it's very difficult to predict that how these changes are going to affect the business that we are doing.
Very true, very true. And even the crisis which is happening over is even adding more fuel to the fire right now. So I'm sure the professionals across the industry are trying to sort out all these challenges at their best. Great. Praveen, you have anything to?
Yes, Mr. Samshad from Hyderabad. He is from supply chain management with one company. He is willing to know is there any possibility to foresee these challenges, to mitigate them, or they affect all industry players alike?
Praveenji, when it comes to the use of words like threats or challenges, I use them in different connotations. Uh, I see an issue as a challenge when there is a higher degree of predictability and a higher feasibility of mitigating these issues. So for me, the challenges I would say is the raw material supplies, or I would say the challenges of marketing the products during changing times, adoption of technologies like what Mr. Vishal has just mentioned, that you have to not only buy the softwares, you have to train your salespeople to use them. So these are the challenges that are, yes, they are predictable, and it is easy to mitigate if you are agile, if you are aware of what's in the future based on the trends that you are experiencing in the present business. I use the term threat in a sense when these issues are difficult to predict, number one, and they have a very less degree of like feasibility of mitigation. So these threats affect the industry players alike. For example, the threats like any natural disaster, I would say, it affects the industry altogether. The increase in freight cost is affecting the industry altogether. Any geopolitical crisis, armed conflict, or economic recession, these kind of things are very difficult to predict. And even if you predict, it is very difficult to mitigate them. So one of the strategies that I would recommend is a very old saying that do not keep all your eggs in one basket. So as an organization, we should be spreading our risk, and that is the primary function or the primary objective behind international business. Maximize your resources and spread the risk. So if you are only focusing on any one particular region, one particular country, one particular product line, definitely you are going to affect, there's a higher degree that you are going to affect by these changes. So the recommendation is just spread the risk, try to cover as many as geographies, as many as therapy areas, as many as business models, so that if these changes occur, we are better prepared to, to have less, getting less affected from them.
Great. I hope Mr. Samshad get convinced with your answer. And definitely we'll expect his response also on this. So, madam, any question you are going to pick?
Yes, I just listening to him, I'm feeling like, all the efforts that we are doing in the sales and marketing, it's so much dependent on the supply chain, because if there is anything that is affecting supply chain, it definitely affects our profitability in marketing, marketing of the products, and it also impacts the sales operations as well. So it is so thoroughly integrated aspect of supply chain, and it determines how much we can invest onto a brand because of the price factors which goes up. So any price change in our product also affects our sales operation, how to convince our clients for the higher prices or whatever, all those things that is happening. Arvind wants to know what will be the future supply chain looks like. It is actually like it's so scary at this moment. Like you got the tender, all the hard work, whatever people have done, they have acquired the tenders, or they have got everything, not only international, even in the domestic, whatever the orders they have got. But when it comes to the supplying of it, the things have drastically changed. So keeping all those background in mind, I think Arvind is right in asking, like, what will be the future supply chain looks like?
Yeah, I guess Arvindji is asking me to act an astrologer. It's very difficult. It's very unpredictable. But with the experience, I have few points to add, and I would request Mr. Vishal and Mr. Mahendu to correct me if I'm wrong in predicting the future. What I see in present times or in last 10 years, there has been a lot of emphasis on material movement. We have been using all our resources in moving goods from one place to another. But I guess in future, the more emphasis will be on information movement. We'll be more focused on getting the consumption patterns, the supply chain essentials such as movement of raw materials, the predictability of shipments. So the more focus will be on information sharing, information movement rather than material movement. We are also seeing that there will be a localization and self-reliance by most of the countries. So I see that international trade or the physical movement of goods from one country to another country will be slowed. If we are talking about the conventional therapy that we are seeing right now, especially the generics. When I say there will be a shift in movement of material from, shift in movement of material to shift in information, I also see that less emphasis will be on agility. Right now, more emphasis is given on who gets the purchase order first, or who is the first introducer of that particular medicine in that particular market, who is better equipped in predicting the demand. So a lot of emphasis is on agility, but I believe in future when the information is easily available and accessible to everybody, more emphasis will be on efficiency. We will be looking forward for customized scaling of production, where we can supply a huge demand as well as a small demand in different countries. We'll be seeing that there will be more focus on specializations, like industry players would refrain from the complete integration or presence across the supply chain. Rather, they'll focus on, let's say, marketing part, or who is have better capabilities in terms of marketing. They will rather go for a contract manufacturing, or preferring contract manufacturing over having their own production. When it comes to the market shall move from prescriber-centric or market-centric to patient-centric. We'll integrate patient into the supply chain. We might see patient having a greater say in the choice of treatment, or we can say the choice of brands as well. So we see a change towards patient-centric business models. We can also see a change in the therapy as well. Right now, we are more focusing on lifestyle diseases, and that is actually a concern area for most of us right now. If you see the pipelines of most of the companies, they are focusing on anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, anti-hypertensive medications, very less focus on anti-infectives. And the way we are irrationally using our antibiotics, a super bug or an antimicrobial resistant pathogen might create a great deal of problems in future. So I believe companies will focus again more on anti-infectives like they used to do in 70s and 80s era. The shift will also be, I would say, focused from right now we are having blockbuster paradigms, one drug, $1 billion drug, but with more focus on generics and easy access to medicines, cost control by various governments. I guess it will be a branded generic market in future, not a blockbuster molecule kind of market. I always believe that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So COVID has forced us to, make some changes. I believe if we continue to do that, whatever I am saying might be true. So the time will only decide.
Correct. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for answering this, and I'm sure audience is getting the answer. I think there have been many audiences who have connected with us. I'll just read out and acknowledge the audience who have connected with us. I'm going through the Facebook. Thank you so much for connecting and liking this program. Varma, ICS, Nimish Bhatnagar, they are the regular ones who are connected with the LPC. Kanaya Malhotra, Suresh Babu, Sandeep Bidwai, Arumugam Arasan. He has a very interesting question, which I will pose after reading out all the audiences who have connected with us. Sunny Kumar, Gopala Krishna Macha, Vipin Kumar Dikshit, Surendra Reddy, Babu Srivastan, Sandeep Dhavle, Arunava Pal, Kuldeep Solanki, Edwin Pasana, Gajendra Kumar, Anish Bharti, and Sunil Kumar Singh. Thank you so much for connecting with us and liking the program and sharing the learning and sharing platform what we are having. There is one very interesting question Arumugam Arasan has posted, and I think who will take up is like you can decide, like, who will answer this. Is it true that making everything on digital will make people lazy, and hard work and personal contact relationships will be eroded in the future days? I repeat, is it true that making everything on digital platform, what we are talking about, will make people lazy, and hard work and personal contact relationships will be eroded in the future days?
I had a similar question, when I had made a presentation on the digital tools, a couple of months before. So I have the same answer. It will always be hybrid. The computers are driven by softwares, but the softwares are being run by the humans.
Human.
So currently it is hybrid, and I think it will always be hybrid with more and more software tools and apps coming. But it is up to the person itself how to choose. So even though the answer is coming over a platform, but the choice of that answer has to be given by you itself. So it will always be hybrid, in my opinion.
Correct.
Can I add to
Correct.
it,
And
madam?
yes, please.
Actually, I am a big advocate of digitalization, and the live example that we have right now is that we are from different territories. We have never worked together, and it is because only of digitalization we are sharing the screen together. So it's an example that yes, there will always be a human touch to it. Digitalization is going to enhance our experiences. Like we are all having right now, we are sharing the screen together. We know each other now very well. And I hope digitalization is going to enhance the human experience. I'm pretty sure of that.
Sure, and I would also like to add, people are afraid that they're going to lose their jobs, and all negative feelings. Yes, because of this transformation, there will be shift in the job profiles and everything. But if sales jobs and marketing jobs will reduce, but on the other side, number of opportunities with the digital thing will increase. So the same salespeople, if we start training ourselves in this direction, maybe then we start acting as software service providers, providers for now face-to-face meetings with doctors are reducing. you know so I think the suppliers of promo material must be thinking what to do. The companies are not printing the flyers and brochures. But on the other side, if an intelligent company integrates itself and start designing the audio visual parts, the graphic content, and integrate with the pharmaceutical companies, so their business will flourish. So the question is how you integrate yourself and be ready for the transition period. So if yes, print material is going to be reduced, but on the other side, the graphic content is going to increase. The website part, the social media part. So people have to change their business styles according to the need, in my opinion.
Right, right.
Here,
Uh,
here I would like to give one example, like, having a discussion. The benefit is, like, we have been in the industry now for almost more than 3 decades. What phase we are passing through for the digitalization right now is around the, when I was with Protect Cipla, if you remember, you would have heard, many of you would have heard about it. Cipla had started the courier services of giving the inputs and samples to the doctors during that period. So when they took a decision to reach out to the customer through another media, directly connecting with the customer. So there was the similar type of transition phase in the minds of the people. Like, we will lose our jobs, and this will happen, that will happen. And many things were happening, and lots of turmoil which was there. But if now we look back and we try to see, the company thought of so well of reaching out to the customers where they couldn't reach with the person individual, And today, where the supply is still standing, where the human touch is still standing, and the courier part was still appreciated. And today, if you look at, it's an online thing where you order it, you get the parcel at your home. So this was like Cipla had started many years back. So I think the digitalization, what we are understanding right now and trying to grasp the whole knowledge about it, probably a few years down the line, we'll say this was the beautiful phase, how it was happening and why it was supposed to be the one of the best thing to happen to us. So that's, I think it's all the learning things what we have in the industry, and it's great experience. So there are good comments coming up. Surendra Reddy is appreciating the talks, like, when it came to the risk management, when we spoke about, and he said, like, true, do not put all your eggs in one basket, is being appreciated. And there is one more question by none other than Vivek Chandra. So it's being posed, is during COVID and after, some customers started ordering medicine from Europe, Middle East through online channels using DHL or other couriers, and they were supplied medicine only after uploading their prescription. So as there was no role of sales, product registration, PMT, just a prescription and an online order from a different country. Now, this is what the scenario he has given. Now, the question what he's posing is, do we think this digitalization in future will hamper normal pharma business routines that we follow? Anyone, any of the speakers can pick up this question to answer.
Let me answer this question.
Yeah.
Number one, exceptions are always there in anything. And if we go by, people have uploaded prescription, they can import medicine. It is only for a personal use. Okay. And it is in short term, yes, it can impact to some extent. But if you look into the regulation of the respective countries, every country doesn't allow beyond certain quantities or beyond certain numbers any medication in import. So it is a challenge to some extent, but by and large, it is not going to impact. The only thing which is going to impact is pharma industry, maybe is a counterfeit medicine, where the number can be a large or a huge, or maybe a duplicate, same brand duplicate medicine, etc. So these things, but in many countries, so rule and regulations are becoming so stringent. I think slowly, these things will reduce considerably. You cannot eliminate anything from system, but yes, they will reduce significantly.
Manu, I
And
would like to add one thing. Why most of the governments, including in India, not allowing this free sales of prescription products online? Because the authenticity of the prescription is also doubtful. Any person, you can order them antibiotics and misuse them, can use narcotic drugs, by making a fake prescription. So authenticity issues are also there. So you can just print an online prescription pad and make a false prescription and upload it, and security checks have to be there. So these models need to be are evolving, and it will take time. So uh, the current thing is not going to change drastically. I would say prescription products will always be under control, in my opinion.
yes, definitely.
So in the meanwhile,
Very
where is Praveenji? Praveenji, I have put answers to your questions. What are required for a startup? So I am ready with the answers.
Shalji, you can go ahead with answer since question you already know it, which was posed some time back.
Yeah. So, if you are going to have a startup, be it pharmaceutical or be it any industry, nowadays there are basic, 11 to 12 requirements if you want to really effectively use your, business sense. So, to monitor the progress, the project management tools, you need to have some system of your dashboards, and a project tracker software. This is one requirement every company requires. Every company requires the instant messenger and communication tools like Zoom, Teams, emails. This will be a basic requirement you cannot avoid. you know just having a website is not enough, because now the websites are a way of communication with your customers. So website builder platforms are required, which enhance the interaction of your customers with updated information. CRM softwares are also required, how to track your relationship with your customers. Social media and email marketing tools are required. You cannot escape it. File storage and access, cloud platforms, you are having so much of data. So if you don't use a digital technology, where will you store your content? So this is a must. Then VPN system, virtual private network systems. It means a secure network of your own to prevent from phishing attacks and data threats. Most companies are using it. Video conferencing softwares you cannot avoid now. Now companies have a different accounting software and HR management softwares. So these are few basic things. It looks like a lot, 8 to 10 things, but without these things, a new startup is going to face troubles if you don't implement it in time. This is my answer to it.
Thank you so much. We are actually shortage with time. We already are heading with 15 minutes. So just before leaving, the first of all, we will say thanking to Imagica, our technical partner, and we would like to take some notes on LPC 100, which we are going to do on 28th of March. Just a small note for 30 seconds from Mr. Vishal, from Mr. Saurabh, and from Mr. Mani.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the team. My takeaway message is, learn from the CCD model. It's not coffee cafe day. It's cockroaches, crocodiles, and dinosaur. So don't become a dinosaur. Become flexible. Start identifying the needs one by one, and start making the changes. If you don't adapt now, it's going to be difficult and tough for survival.
Thank you. Thank you. To Manu, sir.
Thank you, everyone. I wish congratulations to LPC for reaching the 100 mark, which is commendable effort. Looking into the efforts done by the founders and the executive members to bringing the people on the board, and to make sure that you give enough content to the people is also a big challenge. And continuing this, and I wish success to LPC. And I am happy to associate with it, and I am hopeful that association will keep on going. And for viewers, small message in line to Mr. Vishal. We see in the mirror what we are. So for us, we are only responsible. So you are you. So always think that what I'm doing, if you start taking your accountability for the things will improve in your life automatically. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving us this opportunity. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much. To Mr. Saurabh, we would like to hear you also.
Thank you, Praveenji. I've always believed that there are three industries in the world which have affected the every individual of like the global community, every individual, whether the special, privileged, or the weaker section. The first one is the oil industry. The second one is the war industry. It is an industry indeed, a $1 trillion industry. And the third one is the pharma industry. While the first two, oil and the war, have always been, resulted in conflicts, I believe it is the pharma industry will unite the world. These are turbulent times, and just like the pilots say, buckle up your seatbelts and use your best skills to navigate this time. I believe when the dust settles, let's say in near future, we as pharma professionals will have a very bright history to be proud upon, because the contribution that the pharma industry has made to the world in last 2 years is tremendous. And we all will be very fortunate and very proud to be a part of it. And just like Mr. Vishal and Mr. Manu have said, agility is the only way forward. Adapt yourselves to whatever changes are coming. Do not resist. Be with the flow and just adapt to what the changes are coming. That's it.
Thank you so much. We would like to hear from Madam Satwant also about LPC, and we are going to reach 100 episode. So wishes for viewers.
Thank you so much, Team LPC, and has given this platform for learning and also sharing our learnings with the people. And today's session, thank you so much, Vishal. Thank you so much, Manu. Thank you so much, Saurabh, for your insights that you have shared with us, the challenges in the paradigm shift which is happening right now. And I'm sure the audiences have benefited immensely out of it. And thanks the audiences who are connected live with us and have shared their views and the questions which they have posed with us. Thank you so much. This is what is enabling the LPC move forward. I think today we have hit successfully the 99th episode. And the message that we, from the today's session, what we are taking as a crux is like, we need to be agile with what's happening in the current scenario. And every time we have to be agile for it, update our skills and go with the flow and make the necessary changes so that you are coming up, you excel in your performance whenever, whatever challenges we are facing. That's what is the message we have from today's session. And I look forward to the LPC 100 episode, which is happening next week, 20th of March in the Hotel Orchid. And we have very good speakers coming up, the head of the organizations, the living legends who have their experiences, who have faced all the different types of challenges they would have faced in the last 2 or 3 or 4 decades. And they would be available live to express their views and take the questions live from the audience. I'm sure the audiences who are in Mumbai and who can flow down to Mumbai on coming Sunday, please do not miss out on this opportunity. And the request goes to the company people also, please send your teams to the Live 100 program, and special concessional rates would be given. I think it's been issued for the bulk, if the more than 5 team members come, so we have a special rates for registration. So please take the full advantage of the 100 episode, and then we can have how we can take the 101 episode forward onwards. So all those things, looking forward to the more excitement coming week. Thank you so much for today's program. Thank you so much, speakers, and thank you so much, Team LPC. Of course, thank you so much, Imagica, for doing the streamlining today live and being partnering with us. Over to you, Praveen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was really good learning today. Digitalization, supply chain management, regulatory part worldwide. And yes, everything every day is changing. Today our session was a 99th episode. Cricket is one of the religion in India. And when people says 99 ka chakkar, so we also faced multiple challenge today, but thanks to Imagica Health, they had given good support, good backup, and we have completed this episode successfully. My best wishes for LPC 100 episode. I'm the part from the first episode up to 100 at present. And I'm really proud to be joining and sharing, connecting people. So for viewers, definitely I will expect to be connected either by digital or physical with LPC. Thank you so much. Good day to everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, LPC.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So from here, now I'm ending the meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So